Hello. So, I know I talked a lot about working hard and staying consistent, and that is probably the most important stuff, the most important thing you can do to excel. But you also need to work smart, and that is a pretty important factor as well. So, what I mean by this is you can trick yourself into working hard by reading a lot of books, by looking at many YouTube videos, by getting motivation and to tell others that you're doing all this shit, and that, sure, that's great, but this is just the start. Now you need to implement the things that you're actually learning, and that is the hard part. Because if you aren't implementing it to your practical life, why even bother learning it? Because you aren't going to get any results from just learning shit, and that is what school tricks us into believing, but we aren't. We need to actually put it stuff into practice, and that is hard. So when you read a book, I recommend you to read a book pretty slow, because if you're like me, you want to read through the whole book, and when you get to the end, you don't remember anything, and that is bad. So I have two strategies for you. One is to read a chapter, implement it directly, and implement it for a week, and then continue to the next chapter. That is good, but you can't read another book at the same time, or you can, but it's a little weird, because you read one chapter in one book and one chapter in another, and it's hard to remember everything. So what I recommend is to read through one book, so you glance over all the details, you get a little mind map of how everything should be put into practice, and you have a little bit of everything inside your mind. That's great. Then, in every chapter you read, you write a note about what the practical advice is, if it's a self-help book, for example. So you write out every practical advice from every chapter, and then you go over each chapter for a week and put that practical advice into practice. The good thing about this is that you can also read another book at the same time when you put these chapters into practice. So when you put this practical advice into practice, like you're on the first chapter, you put that in for a week, you can still read another book. So when you're done with all these chapters, you have also read this other book, this other one book, and then you can put this into practice, and then you get a lot of benefits from the book, and that is a great way to put things, to learn things, and also implement them to your actual life to get the benefits from learning them. So that is what I recommend you to start doing. So put things into practice. That's what I'm going to say. See you in the next one. Bye.